Alright everybody, let's talk blades. That's what we're into. Today, I got something for you guys. This is a new company for me. Somebody brought to my attention that Bestech is also another really good knife company out of China. So, I figured I'd go ahead and bite. So, let's try that out. So today, I got for you guys Bestech Fin. Fin, that's F-I-N. I'm not entirely sure. This is the first time I've opened this box. I don't know what really to expect other than the fact that it's got all the traits in a knife that I actually like. This one's going to be a little plain for some of you guys, and I do apologize for that. Wow, it's actually not what I expected. That's not what I expected at all. That's actually really cool. Alright. I don't know why, but for some weird reason I was thinking it to be just a little bit more wider. I don't know. Something to that effect, but that's actually really nice. I like that already. I haven't even opened the blade yet. So what you get with this thing is you get your plastic bag that holds the knife, and of course you get your warranty information right here. Upside down, here we go. Bestech knives. Read this. The introduction, maintenance, before storing it. And of course your warranty information. So that's really cool. You got your literature for those of you who enjoy a good read or two. You got nothing else, just the box. I gotta tell you, man, I've been catching myself a lot putting the Arroyo in my pocket. And if you don't know what that is, I'm gonna go ahead and take it out right now, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So this is what I'm carrying right now. It's the Artisan Knives, or Artisan Blades, Artisan Cutlery Arroyo. And you can tell that my card has been worn in just a tad. That's because I've been holding it and using it, and I really do love the feel of micarta, especially canvas micarta like this. It's really, really nice. So this isn't about this knife, though. This is about this knife. Kind of wanted something a little bit more than the Arroyo. I've been taking the Arroyo and dropping it in my pocket a lot, and I like it, but I wanted something a little bit more like this. So I was talking to a buddy of mine who's been collecting Bestechs and a lot of other Chinese manufacturers, Wee knives and all that other good stuff. So he pointed me in the direction of this, and yeah, so I went ahead and I traded for, he had one of every kind of those fins, and he noticed that I kind of very much like the just plain look with the G10 and satin blade. So he threw this one my way. I didn't even think of anything more than just to go ahead and open it up. So I haven't even opened this the first time I've opened it, and it's already really nice. So yeah, so Bestech. We'll get into the specs of this bad boy once I flip it out for the first. Okay. Let's try it again. Let's open it for the first time. Yeah, that detent's pretty strong on there, and I like that. Ooh. Yeah, I like that a lot. Someone say stabby? Yeah. I like that. The jimping is in the right place. Everything feels the way it should on a dagger-style knife. Don't worry, the spine is not sharpened right here. It is a false, but if you, from a distance, you would assume it would be, or possibility of, and that's really cool. And nice little touch, you can actually choke up on the blade if you feel it necessary, and that is a usable choil, as long as you don't slide up, because that's the sharp end of the knife right there. So that's really cool. So you got a Sandvik 14C28N blade. I'm not really a huge fan of Sandvik steel, for a few reasons. I'm not really going to get into it, but I think this is an adequate steel for a budget knife, and this is a budget knife. You're looking at $68 off of Blade HQ, and I believe that's for all models, unless you got like some special edition in there somewhere, which I haven't come across, you know. I didn't like all the other weird color ones. They got some that kind of have like a very good like black, blue, and yellow color variations. To me, those fins look like a pair of bowling shoes, and I don't know why, but every time I look at like a weirdly colored fin, I mean, it looks nice, but they just look like bowling shoes to me. And I'm not a bowling shoes kind of guy, so I don't want my knife looking like that. It just looks a little weird. What I do dig about this is that it's over 3.5 inches, but not by a huge margin. 3.6, I think that is. Blade length is 3.625 is what they say, and the cutting edge is 3.5. So you got that extra reach, not including the choil. That's really nice. And of course, it's Bestech. So I've heard nothing but good things about this company, and this is the very first Bestech. I plan on getting another one, but we'll see how that works. Some of their stuff is a little bit more higher end than I'd like, but we'll see. We shall see. Time will only tell, right? So the G10 is smoothed out. It's really, really nice. It gives it a nice feel. It's not too much on the grip side, but it works. It really does. It works. It's more for aesthetics than actual functionality, in my opinion. But the jimping is there. You got a little bit of jimping down here that I can feel. It's prominent up here and here as well. So in hand, it feels fine. Pocket clip kind of feels like a little bit of a hot spot because that thing is bam. Look at that. That's a pretty big pocket clip right there. Why did they have to make... Or I don't understand why that's got to be so big. That is a huge gap. So I know that's a little bit funny to me. I don't know. It's a little bit weird. Why do they make that pocket clip? Deep carry, which is great. And milled out for weight reduction. You can see the holes on the inside of the scales in there. I wonder if there's any up top. Yeah, there's some. Couple in there. Yeah. Alright, so that keeps it nice and light. So we'll go ahead and get into the specs of this knife. We'll move my Arroyo out of the frame so that way you guys don't get confused. Bust out the... Here it is. Measuring tape. So, yeah, I know it's very plain Jane, but that's how I like my knives most of the time. Every now and again I'll get like a little weird hair, and I'll get a knife that I know isn't really in my element. So you're looking at, 3.5 inches. If you're holding it back behind where you're supposed to actually hold it, if you're holding it in the right saber grip as this, you have that little extra. Right at the pivot, you got 4 inches. But if you're just counting just blade, then you're kind of looking at a little over 3.5 inches, which is very adequate. So overall, you're looking at 8.5 inches length, roughly, I should say. And this feels quite light. For as beastie of the thing that I am holding in my hand right now, because it is a little bit wider than I'd like it to be. But that's okay. 4.66 ounces, that's great. Under 5 ounces, that is fantastic. I like that. I like that a lot. I don't like my knives weighing too much. And sweet spot's around about 5 ounces. It's probably the max I'd go. I'm trying to put it down. It's not really good. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to bust up calipers because the only thing is this feels kind of chunky. So it feels a little bit on the wide side. Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily. I mean, it just provides more grip, depending on how you like your handles, especially with a blade geometry as such as this. You want to have a decent handle for that, and you have a little bit of a guard right here, so you're not going to ride up on anything assuming that you're holding the knife correctly. That's actually pretty nice. I really do enjoy that. What else is there? Well, you got a fuller on the blade, so that's really nice. I like that, what a lot of people call a blood groove, which, yeah. You got the fuller on there. That's a really nice aesthetic. Could be functionality. Bestech knives, and you got that weird kind of symbol that they have right there. And then someone said this looks more like an 8 than a B, but hey, whatever. It works. It looks nice. Nice presentation. Everything looks really nice. What's kind of funny about this is that you got a mirrored, almost mirrored fuller on the handle here. And you can actually feel that. So there's it's not just, on there shadowed. It is actually carved into the handle. And of course, everything we all love to hate and hate to love is the lanyard hole right there, which for me, it's just going to go to waste. But hey, it's fine. He executed this knife very well, and it looks very, very, very good so far. So Yeah, caliper time. Caliper. Yeah, that detent is a little bit weird. I find myself slipping on that detent a lot, but then again, I'm used to the Arroyo and how there's hardly any detent on that. 1.4 on the blade and on the handle. Goodness gracious, 1.26. Let's go back to the Arroyo and see how much thinner the Arroyo is. 1.0 on the blade and a whopping 9.4. Man, if there's anything I can say, I wish that, I hope, I don't know if I've never seen it yet, but maybe if Bestech had like a fin with micarta handle scales would be really nice. But this does feel a little bit of like a chunky knife, and the pocket clip does create a tiny bit of a hot spot. I mean, it's not a huge deal. I mean, if I'm gripping it full grip, yeah, I can really feel that pocket clip on there. And if you're bearing down and you're really cutting, you're going to feel that pocket clip kind of raise your hand up in the back a little. But, I mean, it's not uncomfortable. You just feel it. That's the only hot spot I can really feel in this knife. And, of course, there's a little bit of sharpness in this area. And that's to be expected. But it's not bad. It's not bad at all. $68. This thing is a budget knife, and it feels and looks like a $100 knife. So I think it's a win for me. Not so much of an open construction. You got this back spacer right here at the very end that kind of prevents from a decent, but you can still get in there and clean it up. It's not that difficult. Doesn't look like. And so this is the very first Bestech. Ah, man. So the jimping on the flipper tab, I can feel it, but it almost feels like it just, you have to light switch it. You can't just push it down. Oh. You know what? I think that's the glory of having that detent where it is then. Because if people are going to do it either way, it's still going to come out nice and positive. So I'm going to light switch it. There we go. That's pretty positive. I'm going to push it down. Yeah, it almost forces me to light switch it, because after a certain point you gotta have that. So that's actually really good. That detent is actually where it needs to be. I think it's because my Arroyo doesn't really have detent. The detent on this thing was pretty weak when I got it, so see that? And it's always been like that. And I'm not even putting that much pressure onto it, and it's not even fully locked. Now it's locked. So yeah, coming from this to this is going to be kind of a bit of a weird transition, especially with this humongous pocket. I mean, look at that pocket clip. Look at that pocket clip. Look at this one. All right. I'm going to put those side by side, and the pocket clip on this one sticks out way, way more. I'm going to lie those two down, and you can see how much, I mean, well, this knife is already it's wider, but I'm lining them up handle scale by handle scale using this finger right here to line them up, and the pocket clip on the fin is just sticking up a lot. And then this one's nice and rounded. This one's squared like bam, bam, bam. And this one's just, it shouldn't have to be that wide. That is, wow. Well, I mean, it feels nice and strong. It doesn't feel weak. And it's recessed a bit into the handle, so there's not going to be too much shifting going on. So that's a really good thing. This one feels weak. This pocket clip feels very weak. Like if it were to catch on something, it's a possibility it could bend. But I've never had that issue, so good enough. This guy, big old pocket clip, but it seems to be prominent enough, and it should be fine. Yeah, wow, it's kind of a beefy knife, but overall, it's really nice. It's to me, it looks very tuxedo in this style right here. You got the black and the silver, and it's just a matte finish almost. Not really a mirror shine, but it looks very tuxedo to me. Just very plain, but that's how I kind of like certain knives. I don't like to go overboard and make it too pretty. Then I wouldn't want to carry it or use it, But that just all depends on the person. There are different kinds of people out there that like different stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. Me, I just like it very not so much formal, just kind of in the normal stage of. But this looks nice. This looks really nice. I really do like that. So you got 3 parts that are holding this whole knife together. You got your pivot screw, and you got these 2 screws at the back and bottom. And that's what's holding everything together. So you got those 3 main parts, and this thing feels a little bit more chunkier, but you know what? Reverse grip feels fine. Forward grip and the saber grip is fine. Hammer grip feels fine, except for that hot spot being the pocket clip being so wide and elevated. It's just really big. You got your forward choil if you really need to get in there for some fine work. It's functional. It's really good. It's functionable. It works. I don't even know if that's a word, functionable. Functional. It's probably a way better choice of words right there. And yes, this runs on ball bearings, so you got a very, very smooth open and close. Yep. And I let the blade hit my fingernail. Yeah, I don't know how the Sandvik steel is going to hold up over time. I don't really hard use my knives, so it should be fine. But I mean, I don't know. It just depends on you. If you guys are into that, a lot of people don't like Sandvik steel because Sandvik steel is, depending on the numbers, I guess, can be kind of a softer steel. But it's not really a crap steel. I'll tell you that. I think Sandvik steel is a little bit better than your average 440 stainless. So that's always a good thing. And I always try to look at it like that. If it doesn't say Pakistan or just China or 440 stainless or stainless, then it should be a little bit better than your average steel. So, I mean, that's just kind of my personal opinion. 440 stainless is kind of just the gas station steel that everybody's used to, you know. Way back in the day, that was the typical steel that I would find on most of my knives that I'd ever bought, whether it be a swap meet or a garage sale or at the mall, you know, being a kid with $25, burning a hole in your pocket, and you're like, yes, I got birthday money, let's go get me a knife. And then you go and you buy a knife that says Pakistan steel on there, and you're like, oh. And of course, you know, you don't know anything. You don't know too much about metallurgy. All you know is that it's cheap steel. It doesn't hold a great edge. You know, it burrs really easily and chips, but you do your best with it, and you think it's the world. But when you hear about these other weird steels, you're like, what the heck is that? D2? What the frick? VG10? What is that? AUS 8. I think AUS 8 was the only other steel that I ever heard of outside of 440 stainless. I've always read my blades. I always tried to find out where they came from, you know, what it's made of. I always had this, like, secret kind of wish that I would come across something that says, you know, meteorite steel from, you know, some other place that's not here, and you're like, oh, this is badass. You can cut through metal with this steel. You know, I don't know. It's just my weird little imagination as a kid when I always thought, man, that steel's got to be the best steel. Because I've always heard stories about Damascus steel and how certain Damascus steel isn't what it used to be, because it was like almost like a lost art. There was a story about a Persian sword that was able to cut through other swords because it was made out of a specific Damascus steel, and only a small handful of people in that time frame knew how to make that special kind of steel. And it was, you know, died with time. No one ever found out what that was. They just got it as close as they could to the actual stuff, and mixtures of steel, and it's just a whole nother discussion for another day, but I digress. 14C28N, I really hope you don't fail me. Let's find out. Sandvik steel. I'm going to carry this as my new EDC for the day and hope that I like it enough to want to carry it for longer. Otherwise, that Arroyo is going to hit my pocket again. But hey, I like this knife. I think it's a really, really interesting knife. From Bestech, being the first Bestech knife on my channel. We shall just end it with that. So go ahead and slash that like button, stab that subscribe if you haven't done so. Slice that bell icon, people, so you guys know when I post new stuff. And in these craziest of times, please, be kind, be safe. carry responsibly, and I'll see you all good people in the next video.